of you, I'm aylvye and welcome back to my new video. In this video I want to show you a DIY project that I've been working on and take you on a journey on how the process went. So first of all, I got this box from my grandma and I wanted to paint it to make it more like my style, I guess. So I made this sketch, which it looks horrible, I know. And to be honest, I didn't really use it much, but just to give you a little bit of a vision on what it will kind of look like. And of course, we'll get into the background of the sketch idea later on in the video. So first of all, I painted everything white to have a base layer, and after that I started applying the brown color you also saw in the sketch, which at first didn't really work as well because the colors didn't really stick to the box and it was all just a little bit not really working. But after like 3 layers I finally was happy with the results for now. So while I'm showing you the process of this, let's get a little bit more into the reason why I'm even painting this. So I'm using this box as a storage unit for all my sewing appliances and all the stuff that I need to crochet. So I just want to make it a little bit more personalized in that way and a little bit more like my vibe, I guess. So now you see me here sketching out the design of the painting. While I'm showing you this, I will tell you a little bit more how I even got the idea of the design. So obviously you don't only see here like sewing materials and stuff, but also a Smurf. Specifically it's Clumsy, because when I was first watching the movies in 2011, 2013, he was my all-time favorite character. I loved Clumsy so much, and he's the most adorable, sweet and loving Smurf ever. So I just wanted to throw him on here because I thought it was just fitting. I always adored and loved the Smurfs, and especially the movies from 2011 and 2013, those real-life action Smurfs movies. I grew up with them and I loved them so much, and I also really just... this character means so much to me and has meant so much to me in my childhood, so I thought it was fitting painting him on here because it's also funny him just falling into sewing material. It is clumsy, it's very clumsy like, so it's funny. And it does also remind me of one of my favorite scenes from the movies where Clumsy is trying to plant some plants into a pot and then one of them just falls, and someone said it just reminds me of that because it was a sad scene but also hilarious. And also it's kind of an honor to the actor who played Clumsy in those 2 movies, Anton Yelchin, because he is also one of my just favorite actors. I did mainly became a fan of him because of Clumsy, because when I saw that he played Clumsy, I just immediately became a fan of him because he was so amazing at that role. Clumsy was just my entire childhood basically, and so I just became a fan of him, and I'm glad I did because all the other characters he's played are so amazing and he's such a wonderful person and actor. So right now I'm painting all the base colors for the design, and let me tell you, this cost me so much time. I have like, I don't know, 3 to 4 hours, let alone on the base colors, so I'm trying here to speed up all the process for you so it won't be so boring. Meanwhile, I do want to say, although this process was really tedious to do, like recoloring everything like layer by layer was really tedious, but I also kind of enjoyed it because it was kind of relaxing to just color it and to like, I don't know, it was I don't know why it was relaxing, but it was. So while I'm showing you this whole process of coloring and trying to get the colors to stick to the box, I also want to address that I am not a really good artist when it comes to painting. I kind of don't have much experience with it. I mostly just draw with pencils, to be honest, because it's just way easier for me to do, but I wanted to set myself a challenge, and I don't really think you can paint this with pencils, so I had to use acrylic paint. I do obviously still have some experience with it. This was also kind of a challenge to do, to try to also get better at painting with acrylic paint. So yeah, I'm really struggling at some points to get the colors right and to manage with the colors. I mean, throughout the process, I have been getting better with acrylic paint, but obviously, I'm no specialist in this, and I'm really just a kind of a beginner in acrylic paint. And I think you can also notice that at the way I'm coloring, I half the time I just don't know what I'm really doing, and just trying my best to make it look the way that I envision it in my brain. I also started to layer some of more of the colors to make it seem more crowded, I guess, and to really just make sure that his body couldn't show really much, because I didn't really want to draw his body, to be honest. That was mainly the point of this, to just cover up his body and not have to deal with that. I do normally like drawing like autonomy stuff, but not with smurs. Like, his body was just, I don't want to draw his body because I'm not gonna get it right, to be honest. I don't think that I'll get it right in like this pose specifically, because I don't really want to deal with his body if I don't have to, if I can just cover it up. And so yeah, I'm just doing that. The most tedious mistake that I made is I drew his like hat or beanie he has on completely the wrong way. Like, I didn't even notice it at first. Like, I thought when I was painting this, I wasn't really looking at the sketch that I made, so I just thought in my head, like, normally hats bend backwards when you're falling down, so I drew it that way. But then I looked at my sketch and also looked online on all the pictures that I could find, that the hat is always leaning forwards even if they're falling. It was the most tedious mistake that I had to fix, and that was just really annoying to do. But also it was good that I made it, because it made me look more into his face and into his details to really get it right. So I guess it was good in the end, but still. So now we're at one of my favorite parts of this painting. I was so relieved when I could finally start adding some shadows and some shading into this face, because it made the whole drawing look so much more pleasant to work with and so much nicer to just look at. It finally felt like I was making some progress on this. I honestly think throughout the process I have been getting better at using acrylic paint, but it's also mainly because after a while I also got new colors to paint with, which were so much better than the ones that I was using before. So after a while it was just getting easier to use them and to paint all of it, because the colors that I am using currently are just way better than the ones that I used before. Like, they cover so much more and they're just so much easier to use, because they're like actually just way better quality than the ones before. So I also painted a lot of it off screen, because I just didn't want to waste any more storage on just layering colors all over again. After, I don't know how many layers it took to get it to this point, but after, like, I don't know, what felt like 1,000 layers, I finally started to get to the result that I was looking for. The colors were just covering the canvas and nothing was showing through, and that just was such a relief to finally get to this point, because that meant that I could finally start like really getting into all the details and drawing the details, which honestly was just my favorite part of this whole drawing. Like, I don't really like having to draw so much like base color and stuff. I really love like detailing stuff, and it was my favorite part of the drawing, obviously. And also like making shadows and just a bit more texture and a bit more just, I don't know, life to it. It was amazing to just get to this point. Although I must say I'm really not that good with brushes. I'm not really good with drawing with brushes, like especially like tiny details. Like I don't have the like steady hand for that. And also just I don't like have like the precision to do this. I don't know how other artists do that with brushes, but I cannot do that for some reason. I tried my best to do it, but there's obviously still a lot of improvement, but for now it's the best that I can do. But I am pretty happy with it, how it turned out in the end. And although I didn't really have much experience with drawing shadows with acrylic paint, I did really enjoy that part, just messing with the shadows and the different shades of the colors. Like, I enjoyed it a lot, honestly. I mean, half of the time I didn't know what I was doing, but I enjoyed doing it. I just enjoyed painting it, and it was honestly relaxing, although I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I was just trying to make it look like the references I had. Obviously, it doesn't really look like that way. I honestly don't really care that it doesn't look exactly like the way that I imagined it to look like, because it looks good, and it looks nice. So I don't really care that it's not exactly perfect, because I like it, and I'm not like trying to ruin it completely by just trying too much to add to this. So I am happy with how it turned out and with how I drew it, and I loved just drawing it. So I think that's the most important part for me, that I just enjoyed painting it, and just, I don't know, just trying out stuff and trying out to paint and trying out to get better at it. That's the most important part for me, honestly. I also did start using pencils to make more details into the face and everything, because I couldn't do that with my brushes. I couldn't, so I had to use pencils. So right here I'm finishing up like the last details with the pencils to finally get started on the background. I was so happy when I could finally start with the background to cover everything up and to make everything nice. Honestly, the drawing the edges on the thing, like the background and the edges to the smurf, it was really nerve-wracking to do those, because I was just messing up constantly doing that, and it was honestly, it was annoying, but also I've learned so much from it to like be more precise and to really take time doing this. So although it was a really tedious process to do, and really just it was really annoying because my hand kept slipping up, but in the end it was so worth it, although the background still looks a bit smudged, but that's we don't talk about that. We just leave it as it is, because I'm not doing another layer of this background again. Like, the background also took so much coloring. I mean, it also didn't really stick to the box, but after a while it did. Now that the background was all done, I could start adding like the final details, like the glowing stuff and also the teeth in the mouth, because that I honestly forgot till this point that he has teeth. I don't know how I forgot that, but I am adding this in now. So anyway, I'm also trying to add like more highlights with other pens to just make it look less messy and just more clearer and just less smudged, because it looked so, I don't know, smudged and just horrible before, and now it looks a bit more precise and everything, which is just so much better. And now it's finally starting to look like I wanted it to look. Obviously, I mean, there could still be a lot of improvement, but this is the best I could do to my abilities, and I think it's pretty good for that. I don't really know how to work with acrylic paint, and I think it's honestly real good. The end result is just I love it. To be honest, I love it. And it's one of my favorite paintings and one of my favorite DIY projects that I have done, because I've spent so much time on it and really getting into the details and stuff, and I'm so happy with how it turned out in the end. And after like, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours of painting this, I was finally done with all of it, with the background of everything. Obviously it's not perfect and I haven't painted the sides or anything, but yeah, here's the finished result for now. So that's it for now, and I hope you liked it, enjoyed it, and if you did, leave a like and a comment and subscribe, and that's it for now. Bye!